carried, he's worn the cape for the Belton offense tonight. He accounts for just about all of their scoring. For Temple, it's been very distributed, and they've done it in quite a balanced attack, both on the air, but through the air and on the ground. 66-34, again the score. We're going to try and get out of the way so I don't get run over. Nikki, we'll send it back to you, and we'll have more from here at Tiger Field in just a few minutes.
All right, Curtis, we'll see you back in just a bit. Hey, look, let's stay in District 12-6A. Last week, Shoemaker had a big win against those Belton Tigers at Leo Buckley Stadium.
Yeah, well, those Belton Tigers not looking too good tonight. We knew coming into that season that Shoemaker was going to be a solid team, and that's exactly what they have shown so far. Could they keep it going against the Roos from KILLEEN? Homecoming night for the KILLEEN Kangaroos against Shoemaker at Leo Buckley Stadium. Opening drive for the Roos. Kadarius Marshall gets the handoff, takes it way down the sideline into Grey Wolf territory, down to the Shoemaker 35. Later in that drive, Marshall with the run again, up the gut, 21 yards, and KILLEEN strikes first, 6-0 after the missed.
Hey, you got to make those extra points. Those PATs got to make those extra points.
Shoemaker answers though. Ty Bell finds DeAndre Expert on the short route, and he takes it off, turning on the Jets sideline. 64 to the Kangaroo 6. Same drive. Well, where is it?
You know, Bell was also a former Gridiron Player of the Week too.
Yes, he was the first week. All right, same drive, Bell with the goal line, fade to Trenton Hudson. Hudson gets a foot down, and the Grey Wolves take a 7-6 lead. It was all Shoemaker in this one.
All right, two teams looking to get back in the win column tonight. Coppers Cove, Waco High. Both teams scored off at Waco IRC Stadium. Elijah De La Cruz ran like he was on a mission. 28 yards on this pickup and a Bulldog first down. Later, Micah Cox rumbles 12 yards all the way down to the 2-yard line, and that would set up this. Cox would finish off the drive as Coppers Cove jumps out to a 7-0 lead just like that. Now after the Lions go 3 and out, it's De La Cruz yet again. Breaks a couple of tackles, breaks more tackles. This guy was unbelievable tonight. Gets taken down after a gain of 17. Then Brandon Ortega caps off the drive. 19-yard touchdown, 14-zip at that point. I think it was all Coppers Cove in this one. Late fourth quarter, they lead 41-24.
And last night, it was homecoming for Ellison. A student was surprised by her dad, who has been deployed in Kuwait for the past year. As far as the game itself, opening drive for Heights, Sean West keeps it on the option, going his left. Kaylin Wilkerson forces the fumble. Devarium Thompson picks it up, and he goes 45 yards on the scoop and scores 7-0 Eagles, and we're less than a minute in. Heights would hit a pair of field goals, then just before the half, Breezion Spiller on the keeper from the one. Ellison takes a 14-6 lead. Into the locker room, Heights would recover the onside kick to start the third quarter. Ensuing drive, Merrill flares into the flat. Stacey Brown breaks the tackle and scampers 14 yards for the score. It's now 14-13. Eagles would answer the handoff to
Demaja Harris.
Demaja Harris, and he has gone 43 yards to the house. 21-13 Ellison at that point. Same score in the fourth. Knights with the first and goal. Okay, not yet.
You'll see him. He's celebrating. He's fired up on that one last night.
Happy.
He was fired up. Well, I guess we won't see it, but
all right.
They ended up winning in overtime,
yep.
24-21. Let's hear from Jerry Edwards.
That was huge, you know, and you know, these kids don't understand the magnitude of what they just did to get us back in the district race, but we're right there, and then the confidence level ought to be there too. I'm just so happy that these kids found a way to win.
Harker Heights will host Waco High next Thursday night, looking for its third straight district win.
All right, over in Class 5A, University paid a visit to Joshua. Both teams looking for their first district win, and University right now leading 30-20 late in the fourth quarter. All right, we're just getting started right here on Friday Night Live. So don't go anywhere. We're going to come back and dive into Class 6A. That's next. Or 4A. That's
4A.
next. 4A. We already did 6A. All right, welcome back. Let's move down to Class 4A, where tonight we had a great matchup in Lorena as the Leopards scored off against number 2 Connally.
Lorena has won 3 of the last 4 meetings against the Cadets, but Connally was hoping to change all of that.
Yeah, Connally running back Javion Sunday. He's 180 yards away from 1,000 for the season. Could the Leopards somehow bottle him up? We'll pick it up in the second. Lorena leading 3-zip. Bradley Lina calls his own number. He's in from 5 yards out. It's 10-zip Leopards. Now, I just spoke about Javion Sunday. Here he is, breaks a few tackles. He's going to throw one guy to the ground just like that. Ooh. Look at like Marshawn Lynch back in the playoff. 37 on the play, but that's going to come back because of holding. All right, look, a few plays later, it's Sunday again. This time, 25 yards out, no flags. Extra point was boxed, so 10-6 Leopards at that point. This was a good game, but how about this? Connally comes from behind. They win 34-24.
All right. Over down I-35 South, where Salado played host to number 8 Robinson. Rockets were extremely impressive during non-district play, finishing 4-0. First quarter, Joseph McHenry looking for a man, but it's intercepted by Salado's Caleb Self, setting up the Eagles on the 40-yard line. Next play, Reed Vincent runs it all the way to the red zone, gets the first down for the Eagles. I almost got knocked over.
That slot T offense.
Okay,
that's tricky now.
That's crazy. So here, the tricky offense does its job. Gets him down all the way near the end zone, and Noah Meister gets the Eagle touchdown. Kick is good, and Salado was up 7-0 early.
How about that upset?
And they got the win, 31-28, the final over undefeated Robinson.
Wow. All right, final tune-up for China Spring. They battled Houston St. Thomas before district play begins next week. Now, what could Emmanuel Abdullah do for an encore after last week's 554-yard performance? Now, Maddox Cox hands off to Jaden Yubo, makes one person miss, touchdown at 7-zip Eagles. China Spring tries to answer. Braden Faulkner looking deep to Jacob Kolagowski. It's picked off by Aiden O'Hare. Nice pick right there. So St. Thomas back on offense. Maddox Cox drops back to pass. He's going to let it fly. Drake Martinez hits him in stride. 14-zip at that point. And China Spring, they would actually come back, but it would fall 1 point short, 14-13.
They just can't win.
Scores from around Class 4A, number 3 La Vega, all over Liberty ILO, 49-6, and Glen Rose knocks off Gatesville 45-6. All right, Nikki, best part of the day. Time to announce our Battle of the Bands winner.
Yep, this week Robinson faced off against Salado, and after a few days of voting, you guys have spoken.
Yeah, congrats goes out to the Salado Eagles. Take a listen, and we'll see you back at the break.
This week's Game of the Week is sponsored by Baylor Scott and White Health.
Let's head back out to Tiger Field where Temple victorious tonight, 66-34 over the Belton Tigers. Their 7th straight win in this series. Curtis Quillen joins us live from Tiger Field. And Curtis, hey, a huge game, big win for Temple, and they now are sitting really good in District 12 6A.
Yeah, honestly, Nick, this is a big win for them, more than just the 32-point spread on the scoreboard. 66-34 is the final at Tiger Field tonight as Temple goes away, like you said, Nick, with their 7th straight win in this rivalry. But more than that, it moves them to 3-0 in District 12 6A, coming out of the bye, tying them with Midway atop the district standings through week 6. That is big. That is really, really big. That sets up another huge Temple Midway clash in a few weeks. And for Belton, it leaves them needing to fix some things going into the bye week. So if you're Scott Stewart at Temple, you're going, hey, we're in really, really good shape right now. They've got the week off in Belton. They can get things fixed and make a really, really strong 4-week push to the playoffs at the end. But, Nick, this was a statement from Temple. It was close until about the 5-minute mark in the second quarter. At that point, Temple took control of this game, seizing momentum and not letting it up after that. It was 52-28 at the half. They outscored the Tigers 14-6 in the second half. So truly a statement win from Temple here tonight in Belton. We're going to present the trophy in just a few minutes and talk, with Wildcat head coach Scott Stewart. For now, live at Tiger Field in Belton, Curtis Quillen, 6 Sports.
All right, thank you, Curtis. We'll check back to you in just a bit. Hey, look, Nick, let's move down to Class 3A. Right. Cameron Yo suffered their first loss at the hands of Troy in a wild game at Yo Field last week.
Tonight, the Yeomen stepped out of a non-district play to face off at Katy Street. John.
All right, nice crowd on hand. Go ahead, take it over.
Nice crowd on hand at Yo Field. This would be a good tune-up before they take on JARRELL next week. Lions ball. Okay, wait, we missed that one.
Yeah. That's Cameron's ball. This is Braden Bashir off of Zachary and Spikes.
He catches it at the 30 and runs down for the touchdown. Yo's ball, Bashir gets the snap, hands off to James DuBois, who runs up the middle and plows through, gaining major yards before the Lions are able to get him down. Cameron with the ball, Bashir with the snap, hands off to the boys again, tries to go through, but the Lions are there. But they kick a field goal, and it's good. And the final score, Cameron Yo 44-7.
All right, Troy created a huge rate of momentum with that massive win over Cameron Yo last week. Could they keep rolling against JARRELL? Here's the homecoming king right there. Troy up 21-6 against JARRELL. 2 minutes left to go. Ben Presley gets the ball to Sam Jones all the way down to the 10. Presley tries to make something happen here, but he's going to be sacked by JARRELL's Ian Nitch. Then Troy, all right, look, try to get a field goal with 1 second left before the half. But guess what? It is no good right here. So they would lead 21-6 at the break. But hey, guess what? Wow. Didn't matter. They go on to win 49-13.
Those Trojans. And number 5, Rogers, was looking for their 6th win in a row, taking on Burton. Rogers ball. Heath Schiller gets the snap, launches a huge pass, looks to be a perfect pass until Pearson spies from Burton, smacks it down. Burton's ball. Jackson gets the snap, runs past the line. He makes on Rogers' player say goodbye to his ankles with a serious juke, runs down the side and gets tackled. But Burton's ball's back on past down 9.
Dude, it is all over the place. Look at that pass. That's Jordan Riley.
He all the way down for the touchdown. And the final score, Rogers 42 over Burton 7.
6-0 for Rogers. McGregor could really shake up the district. 9-3A standings with the big win over MAYPEARL tonight. MAYPEARL got things going early. Nice run off the right tackling by Panther running back Grant Hamby. All the way to the Bulldog red zone, but the drive would begin to stall. 4th and 9. Yes, 4th and 9. Panthers go for it. Not even close. Bulldogs take over. Bulldogs on the move. DeAndre McDaniel hits DeAndre Parker over the middle. He's in the Panther territory. A lot of action between the 20s tonight. A few plays later, McDaniel on the zone read here. Pulls it out, scans the field, dances, slips out, races for the pylon. Just a few yards short. He would later score on this one, but it was all McGregor, 20-17. Your final. Let's look at some scores. 33-14 West over Grossback. Teague, they fall to number 1 Grandview. 52-7. Royal Rockdale, they beat Manor New Tech. Academy falls to Lago Vista. And what else do we have? Clifton beats Venus, and Chilton knocks. They fall short of Florence. Don't go anywhere. Be sure to join us on our live stream portion. We'll have plenty much more from Tiger Field between Temple and Belton. We'll see you then. And trophy presentation.
Friday Night Lights is brought to you by Baylor Scott and White Health.
All right, welcome back to our live stream portion. You see I'm wearing no shoes right here. Got my socks on. Nick Hands off alongside Nikki Latarillo, our brand new Astros.
Okay. The Yankees also won. We're not going to talk about it.
Okay, yeah.
There's some rivalry going on.
There is some rivalry. You know what? That was a big rivalry. I'm glad you segued in.
And there's also the Temple Belton rivalry.
Temple Belton. Big game tonight. Temple goes and wins on the road 66 to 38, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. That's their 7th straight win in that series. Let's go out to Curtis Quillen, who's live at Tiger Field with the winning team for those Temple Wildcats. Curtis?
Yeah, Nick, 66-34, the final. Temple gets the win against their arch rival Belton on the road even. They've won 7 straight in the series, including all 4 since they restarted this rivalry back in 2016. We're joined now by the head coach of the Temple Wildcats, Scott Stewart, who has, 5 straight wins now, and you guys are 4-1, 3-0 in district. And for the 2nd year in a row in this matchup, Coach, the Game of the Week championship for Week 6 is all yours.
I appreciate it, man. We were 1-0 in this week, and that's all we wanted to be was 1-0. So I don't know all the records or the stats or anything like that, but the kids played hard tonight, and so I appreciate this. This means a lot. This going on the trophy case.
To see you guys gain control about halfway through that 2nd quarter and be able to take control of the game and just start pulling away, how big was that for you guys?
Well, that 3 minutes at the end of the half was huge. I mean, it was a close game prior to that, and you know, I've been on both sides of that roller coaster. I mean, when the momentum starts slipping in your favor or against you, I mean, it's a hard. Sometimes it's hard to stop, but you know, I was more proud because I mean, again, momentum is kind of a skittish thing, but you know, I was more proud of our kids going into halftime, coming out, and then just kind of picking up where they left off. That was probably the biggest telltale. I mean, we've got 2 freshmen and 4 sophomores on the field on defense, and we've got, you know, I think 14, maybe 13 guys that are playing their 5th game on varsity ever. And so to take a young group and come out and establish, you know, some momentum and reestablish some momentum 2nd half, I was proud of that.
To see how they built off of that season opening loss, the heartbreaker at Cedar Ridge, a really good Cedar Ridge team, to win 4 in a row, and more importantly, as I know you would say, to go 3-0 in District 12 6A, especially after what we've seen the last 2 weeks in your district and how crazy it can be. What's the message going to be when you get back into that locker room for these guys?
Well, the message is going to be, let's be critical of ourselves. I mean, congratulations, there's a ton of points, but I'm going to tell you what, the biggest room in the house is a room for improvement. I mean, I personally it makes me sick in my stomach when we give up 28 points in a half. So we've got a ton to work on. Being complacent in this life, in this world, as a man, as a human, is just not a good place to be. And so, I'm very critical of myself. Nobody has any higher standards for Temple football than I do or we do. But we've got to go back and take a look at what we do well and say, hey, good job. Okay, now let's move on. Because if you don't fix what you're struggling at, you're not going to have a chance to be great. And that's the goal. Let's try to be great.
How is this is an awesome rivalry. I mean, sold out crowd, almost 10,000 people here. What were your thoughts on the atmosphere here tonight?
Well, it's electric. I mean, no matter what. I think the kids, I don't think there's as much animosity amongst the kids as people think. I think the old heads in the stands hate each other, but it's a fun to be a part of. I mean, I didn't get to play stuff like this in high school, so that the message to the kids was, don't make this special. Don't think you got to do some kind of superhero work out here. Just go be yourself, but enjoy it. Like, soak it up, because these days end. I mean, there are a bunch of guys in both sets of stands that would love to get out here one more time. This guy holding this ball included. So, just enjoy the moment. Enjoy what you got. Thank God every day that you have the ability and the talents that you have, and just enjoy what's going on.
You guys have, I mean, this district is just ridiculous this year, especially with everything that's happened in the last 2 weeks. What do you guys need to build on, knowing that there's a very good chance nobody in this district is going to mathematically clinch until week 9?
Well, it shows you the parity. I mean, to me, it's not. I didn't see any. I mean, we've played 2 really good teams, and we have a bunch of really good teams to play. And I'm going to tell you, on any given night, anything can happen. So it's fun to be a part of something like that. I don't worry about the statistics and hard lessons learned. I am not going to care about the statistics. We're going to play one game next week. We're going to try to go 1-0. Whoever shows up every week, we're going to try to beat. If we don't, we'll try the next week. But, I let you guys figure out all the standings. I spent way too much time, energy, and effort last year messing with that stuff, and I ain't ever doing it again.
I don't blame you. As the guy who had to do it at our station, I don't blame you. Coach, congratulations on the win tonight. Best of luck against KILLEEN next week.
Appreciate everything you guys do for Central Texas sports, because y'all are awesome.
Love to do it, Coach. Thank you for working with us.
Have a good one.
66-34, the final tonight. Temple gets a really big win. We're going to try and attempt to break it all down, like Coach said, coming up later in the show. And Nikki, as we were all talking about this afternoon, it requires a lot of Excel spreadsheets to even try to do it. But 66-34, the Temple Wildcats are 3-0 in District 12 6A, guys.
All right. Curtis, great work over there. Scott Stewart, I mean, he's a happy man.
Yeah.
Big win, that's 7th straight over your rivals, and I'll tell you what,
it wasn't
was a packed
as interesting as a game as last year.
I know.
We would think it would, but it ended up being
it was tight, but the offense exploded late in the second half. All right, let's drop down to Class 2A. Bosqueville, they edged ITASCA by 6 last week. A win tonight would move them to 2-0 in District 8 2A Division 1. Jaden Saxon options left and pitches it over to Jaden Barr. Stiff arms the defender like the Heisman Trophy right there. Goes in for the score, puts the Gladiators up 17-14. Then Luke Bradshaw would hand off to Davo McDonald. He makes one defender miss, breaks another one, goes in for the touchdown. Bulldogs up 20-17. Extra point was no good. Then Saxon takes a snap, passing over to Kyle Horn. He's off to the races, but nobody's going to catch him. Italy regains the lead 24-20. This game went to overtime.
Wow.
They win 44-43.
Bruceville Eddies off to a 4-1 start. They could pick up their 2nd district win against Itasca. In the first, Eagles trapper Endorsa lobs the ball to John Lopez, who runs it in for the touchdown. It's 6-0 Bruceville Eddy. And then Itasca's Andrew Arenello throws left to Kate Lightsky, who is quickly taken down. It's now Bruceville Eddy's ball. Endorser hands off to Nathan Quattlebaum, who runs through the defenders for the touchdown. Eagles go up 20-0 after 1 quarter of play. Bruceville Eddy goes on a roll tonight, 49-6 the final.
All right, district opener for the RIESEL Indians, scoring off against the Bearcats from Moody. Indians found themselves down 18-7 to this point, and things were going to go their way. They cough up the football right there, giving it right back to the Bearcats. Ensuing drive, Bearcats back, making me laugh. Evan Norwood gets a swing pass, breaks an arm tackle, sidesteps a couple defenders. He gets into Indian territory. A few plays later, Ryder Holsroth takes a direct snap, punches it in, extending the Bearcats' lead to 19. But hold on, the Indians aren't done yet. Not if Austin Searcy can help it. 25-yard run puts the Indians in business. Nikki, quit making me laugh. And that sets up his partner, Donovan Blake, takes it the jet sweep all the way to the house. Indians right back in this one. Moody, RIESEL, high-scoring game, but RIESEL comes out on top, 64-48.
All right, Holland has won every game by at least 17 points this season. Could they keep things rolling against Thorndale? Third quarter, Thorndale made their way down the field. Northcott looking for a man. He flings it downfield, and they call pass interference in this, and that puts them in the red zone on first down. Ensuing drive, and there's a touchdown for Mason Linding. But Holland would answer right back. First, they have a completed pass right here. And a few plays later, there's a bunch of penalties, but this is the drive. He'll take it all the way into the end zone for the touchdown. And the final 40-13, Holland gets the win. All right, Bartlett has gone off to a rough start. They've scored exactly 6 points in 4 of their first 5 games. But all the losses, could they get in the win column tonight against Snook? Second quarter, Snook ball. Davila takes it through a bunch of Bulldogs and is down on about the 30-yard line. Next play, Lero, the quarterback, looking for a man. He can't find one, so he tries to take it himself, but he's drawn down, but he gets the first down. Next play, it's Young. He'll take it all the way to the end zone. That puts Snook up 26-0. They went for 2, but it was no good, but Snook actually got the win, 44-0 in the final.
And Bartlett having a tough time on offense this season. Scores from around Class 2A. Marlin shuts out Rosebud Lot 33-zip. Hamilton all over Bremont 47-21 in Class A. Look at this score. Waco Methodist tops Abbott 74-59. Jonesboro all over Aquila 50-0. Blum, no score was called in for that. Covington knocks off Penelope 72-38. It was Golston over Caperl 52-44. Avalon knocks off Trinidad 52-42. And Coolidge, do we have a name for Coolidge? Yes, they win by 3, 34-31. All right, and in taps, it was Riker all over Tyler TK Gorman 60-14. Coming up here in just a bit, Shane Anderson from Connally. He's going to join us after his cadets knock off the Salado Eagles. You were out there.
Man.
I know. So what, you were out there. What did you think about that game in general?
Wait.
As far as Connally and Salado.
Oh, okay. Salado, I was at their game last week also, and their offense is so tricky, and I spoke to their head coach earlier in the game, and he said the #1 thing they had to do was just score, because last year they couldn't even get a completed pass. But this year things were different. They got the win, and they played really well.
Those cadets, I'll tell you what, #2 in the state. We talked about it all season long. They were, I said, my sleeper going into this season. They have a lot of D1 athletes, and yeah, I mean they're primed and get ready for the playoffs. So
Yes.
on the Channel 6 hotline is head coach Shane Anderson. Coach, hey, a big win over Salado tonight. You go on the road. What does that tell you about your team winning on the road here?
You know, anytime you come to Lorena and get a win, that's a big win for your football team and your program.
Oh, sorry about that, Coach. Not Salado. They played Lorena. My fault.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Nikki about Salado. That's my fault. They're both red, confusing me. What did you think about your team's effort tonight?
I thought it was an unbelievable effort. You know, our kids played hard for 4 quarters, very resilient. You know, hats off to Coach Biles and his staff. You know, they have a lot of kids hurt right now. They're banged up, and, you know, they put together a really, really good game plan, and they gave us everything we wanted for 4 quarters. And when we had to, you know, it came down to the 4th quarter to win it.
And what were some of the positives you saw coming out of your team tonight?
I couldn't hear that question, sorry.
What positives did you see from your team tonight?
Oh, you know, just like I said, the resilience, leadership out of our seniors, not panicking. You know, we were down 14-6 at half, and, you know, made some adjustments. Coaching staff did a great job of making those adjustments, and the kids did a great job of executing them in the second half. And, you know, hats off to our offensive line. They blocked really well all night and opened some holes for Javion and KT to run the football.
That was my next question, because I was there for the 2nd quarter, and Javion and some of the other running backs, I mean, they had some massive holes. They were running big. I know they had some big runs called back by holding penalties, which I'm sure you could probably rip your hair out off of that. But just kind of talk about that O-line, and they have been really solid all season long.
Yeah, Coach Tyler Miller, our offensive line coach, and Coach Paul Satina, they do a great job with those guys, man. They really put something special together, and those kids play extremely hard. And the great thing about it is they embrace being an O-lineman, and they embrace playing O-line. And, you know, they just do a great job up front, and they know that we got the best running back in the state of Texas behind them. And, you know, got a pretty good dual threat guy in KG back there also, and they know that if they can get a body on a body, that we're going to get a positive play. And
what do you think your team needs to work on before your game next week?
You know, starting fast. You know, we haven't started fast all year. Other than the Glen Rose game, we've been tied or behind at halftime, and came out and won the second half, which is great. You know, that's what you want to see. I think it's going to help us down the road in the playoffs when we play some close games. But you know, and I told the kids at halftime, I said, hey, if y'all go out and win this second half and get us out of here with a win, get us to 6-0, 2-0 in district, I'll take full responsibility for us not starting fast, and I promise you I'll get it fixed by Monday.
Hey, Coach, when you look at your district, do you feel that anybody can win on any given Friday, because there's so much parity in that district?
Yeah, there's no doubt. You know, there's no doubt. It's first and foremost, there's a bunch of great coaches, coaching staffs in our district. And, you know, there's been a lot of continuity. You know, I guess Coach Sandoval and myself are the, you know, kind of the newbies to the crew. But, you know, a staff like Ray Biles and his staff have been here forever. A staff like John Bechtel and his staff. You know, yeah, Coach Urbank, he just took over Madisonville, but he's been there with Rusty Nail. And, you know, and then Alan Harris' staff down there at Salado. And, you know, Tommy Allison's been at Robbins. I mean, just the list goes on, and the continuity and the program that people have in place. It's going to be a dogfight every single Friday night.
What a classic game tonight. Big win over Lorena on the road. Coach Anderson, we appreciate you joining us. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Hey, thank you guys for having us on. Thanks for all y'all's support.
No doubt, Coach. Connally head coach Shane Anderson. My fault, because we were talking about Salado,
and I said that
they were played at Lorena, because I was at the game anyway. So no, but what I saw was two teams that were, you know, battling out. Lorena's offense played very well. Connally, of course, coming in second half. The big guns, Javion Sunday. We're going to talk about him in just a minute.
I think that district is going to be one of the toughest ones this season. They're all, so many teams are so good.
You know, I don't know how many yards rushing Javion had, but he was 185 yards away from 1,000 for the season. So I don't know. He might have got that tonight. If not, he'll get that next week.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, speaking of a running back,
okay,
we have a good one.
Speaking about it, it's time now for our Gridiron Player of the Week, who comes to us from China Spring. And although the Cougars were unable to get the win during that game, this kid did something special. Think about the size of Texas and how many kids have played high school football. Imagine having a performance so big it puts you in the top 5 ever. Well, for Emmanuel Abdallah, that happened on Friday night.
At first, you know, I was like, man, this can't be real. You know, it's like video game numbers. I was a little bit shocked, but, you know, I mean, I didn't really care for it too much, to be honest. I was just trying to get the win.
The junior running back from China Spring rushed for 545 yards and 5 touchdowns in what was just his 5th varsity career start. But his teammates and coaches said he wasn't concerned with his own performance, but more so that it wasn't enough for his team to get the win.
Kind of emphasized to him his top 10 performance of all time in the state of Texas rushing a single game, and he was kind of in awe. And the first thing he told me was, "Coach has done mean as much since we didn't get the win."
I'm pretty sure after like the third touchdown, I was like, "Hey, something's up." Like he broke some type of record, but throughout the game, you know, we were focused. But after the game, I talked to him. I was like, "Man, you did something like great." But him being so humble, you know, he was concerned more with the team and not really about himself.
Abdallah described his team as close-knit. When one player is playing well, everyone builds off of it.
The thing about our team is, you know, we're all happy to see each other succeed. You know, if one person's doing good, that's going to get someone else energized. You know, we are really bond together. We really come together.
For Abdallah, his teammates don't think this is it for him.
The sky's the limit for this kid, you know. With his work ethic, I see him beating his own record either this season or next season sometime soon.
After starting just half a season on varsity, Abdallah now ranks 5th in the state of Texas for rushing yards, and he's just a junior. All right, I'm interested to see what he's going to do. He has a whole nother season, and he just started playing varsity. So
I know he's almost at the 1,000-yard mark. It's crazy.
I mean, he's only played 5 games.
I know, it's unbelievable.
Or
All
6.
right, let's go back out to Curtis Quillen one more time. Tiger Field. I'll tell you what, Temple's offense dropped 66 points tonight. Curtis, give me your take for the team, your game, and what in the world are you sitting on?
He's had enough.
We're sitting on a bench. We're sitting on a bench. Look, guys, my Fitbit says that I've got, hold on, I got to get through some Sports Center notifications, 11,078 steps. So, plus, I've still got to run up and down the sidelines at Bill Snyder Family Stadium tomorrow, so I'm going to sit down for a little bit. Plus, photojournalist Ryan Fite asked me to sit down, and the man has been working hard, much harder than I have today. So sitting down we shall. My take on the Temple offense is that they're more than capable of scoring on anybody. And I'm not saying, I mean, Belton is as good a team as they'll face in the regular season this year. I think that the next true defensive test they're going to face is with Harker Heights behind them, keep in mind, because Heights is a defense that is capable of containing you and eliminating the big play. They do not allow anybody the big play. That's why Belton went scoreless. Belton, the highest scoring offense in the district, went scoreless in the second half against Harker Heights. I think with Harker Heights behind them, the toughest defense that remains on Temple's schedule is either Ellison or Midway. And so there's, I think, you know, they're going to put up a lot more points, especially against KILLEEN, especially against WACO High, and quite possibly Week 11 against Coppers Cove. So I was very impressed with Temple here tonight. I think this win for Temple sets them as one of the favorites in the district. Last night we mentioned there was no clear-cut favorite in District 12-6A. I think now we have one or two. I think now we know, we're starting to get some clarity on what the playoff picture looks like, especially with Shoemaker hanging, what was it, 52 on KILLEEN tonight? I mean, I think that picture of District 12-6A this week is starting to come into focus, but don't be surprised if nobody's mathematically out or clinched until, what, Week 8, Week 9? I mean, something like that.
For 4 spots, you know, Midway, Temple, Belton, Shoemaker, Ellison, Heights. Just off the top of my head, you got a lot of teams that have at least 2 wins. So tonight's win has now kind of separated Temple from the pack a little bit. Of course, Midway is still out in front. Who do you think is going to take that district? Because Midway and Temple right now.
I feel like Temple
I don't know.
Gonna...
I would slow down before saying Midway's ahead because keep in mind they have the same district record and they haven't played yet.
Yes, that's true. That's true because they're on
week 10.
They're on a bye week.
Okay, that's true. I just feel like Temple is
Midway's on an open week, and then
every
Belton's got the open next week.
Go ahead, Nikki. What were you saying, Nikki?
I don't know that they're going to start stomping anyone.
I feel like
Ellison's still got a really, really good
start
defense.
Them on a roll, and from here the momentum's going to keep building, and they're just going to keep boom, 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 hitting everyone out. And I feel like they're only going to lose. Like,
don't get me wrong. I don't think Temple after tonight. I don't think Temple will drop more than one district game. Midway seems to have had their number the last few years. But if there was ever a year that anybody could beat Midway in this district, it's this year. And I know coaches hate to hear, oh, no team's unbeatable. Anybody can be beat on any given night. But, I mean, I feel like in this district that's especially true this year. On Temple's schedule still to go, their district games have been against Harker Heights, Shoemaker, and Belton. So that means they still have Ellison, KILLEEN, Midway, Waco High, and Coppers Cove.
I think they're going to.
That is, oof.
That's a tough scheme.
And even that one, I mean, Nick.
Well, I like
that game circled on our calendar
earlier today against Waco High. We've talked about Waco High. They're young. This is a team that's not built to win right now. Maybe in a year or two. Yeah. But right now, I would say that
they're super
they're very young. And so right now, what Coach Cavill is doing, he's trying to build these kids up for the future. But you know, Cove, hey, they look good. They're still in it, and they're going to be fighting with Jack Alvarez's team is always in there. Like I said, what Harker Heights did last night.
I love that you brought up the Coppers Cove Waco High game because I think that game was mathematically an elimination game. I really do. I really do. I think that Waco High is, for all intents and purposes, pretty much eliminated from playoff contention at this point. They play Harker Heights Thursday night. Waco High was the second team in the district to have a bye, so they're going the rest of the way. They go to Harker Heights Thursday night. Thursday games are weird enough.
They have been
so
weird
I think
the last
that was
couple of weeks.
More or less an elimination game in my book.
Yeah.
And Nick, I think I said this in the press box earlier. If another Thursday game goes to overtime, we're switching.
That's fine with me. We'll just tell Nikki to go out there on her off day.
Oh yeah, my day off. I'll take over for everyone.
No, but I mean they had some good games.
I say that joking though.
Yeah, and then of course tonight a big upset. Of course, you're the mayor of Salado. Salado knocks off Robinson, which is a big home win.
Salado played very well today. That offense, I don't think.
Can I point something out that argues against this being an upset?
Well, that's true because they are solid. I'm just talking about rankings-wise. You look at everybody across the state, might say it's an upset.
Plus, both of these teams, both of these teams are in the top 25 in 4A Division II, according to the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Computer Rankings. So, I mean, is it really an upset, or is it just one of those where maybe the rankings guys kind of didn't know what Salado was made of?
That's
and
true.
I think tonight proves that they're good enough to hang with anybody. But I say that, keep in mind, still on Salado's schedule, Madisonville, Mejia, Lorena, and Fairfield.
Yeah.
So, and that Fairfield game is week 11. I think they're off next week.
Though. They really did.
I think Salado's off next week, right?
I'm not sure. I'll have to check that out. But that wing T offense, it's tough to stop.
That offense looked crazy, but Robinson was the team that played really well against them last year against that offense. So this year I was like expecting it to be like that, but Salado came right out of the gate, scored, and played very well the rest of the game. So Robinson's still a really good team.
They played 8 freshmen last year, or 8 sophomores or something like that, on a team that going into the fourth quarter against Fairfield, they hold Fairfield, they're in the playoffs. So those of us that follow that district in football this closely, I don't think any of us are really surprised by Salado.
No, not at all.
Yeah, they lost to Troy to open the season, but Troy is a buzzsaw right now.
They are.
I mean, you're talking about a team that just took down the number 3 team in the state last week right here on 6 News. So do I put any stock into that? No, their losses are to Troy and Connally.
And they played well against Connally. They were up 14-0.
They did. Yeah, they really did. That district is so intriguing to me. Madisonville is the week 11 bye, so that means the Mustangs, they're playing every week right now. That district is it has so much intrigue because there's bangers in that district every week if you look at the schedule. I believe next week may be Lorena Robinson.
You might be right.
Which is it's on paper, it's a banger.
Yeah.
She would be the only one that knows this far ahead. So
I know
if
you're
you
looking
don't know,
ahead. I
we
got to
definitely don't know.
No, but right now, let's get this kind of final take here. We got a lot of undefeated teams left. Holland, Rogers, Connally. Who else? I'm trying to think of all the other teams that won tonight that are still undefeated.
Speaking of Connally, can I define dark horse for you real quick before you ask this question?
Yes.
Well, a team.
It's not a top 10 team.
Yeah, I mean they're really, really good.
I've always thought they've been good because I just came in here and thought they were good.
I just wanted to get my jab in. Go on.
And they're actually.
Yeah, they're not.
They've got to get through Pleasant Grove.
They do. But hey,
Pleasant Grove's in their region.
I feel like JV on Sunday is just going to take them through the whole entire
Their offensive line have been very well.
Because the old line just stops everyone. He just gets in the end zone every time.
I watched them earlier, and JV on Sunday and a couple of running backs had some big plays.
I watched that game against Pleasant Grove last year, and that Hawk team, they were explosive through the air, out of the wing, out of the slot T. You don't see that. Sorry, I saw someone I know.
Hey, everybody loves Curtis Quillen out there.
So that region, until it doesn't, runs through Texarkana. But I do think Connally is a legit. I think tonight proves that the Cadets are a seriously legitimate contender to win Region 2, but they have to go through Pleasant Grove.
And you know
so
what
Nick,
I like
back
about
to what you were asking.
I like about Connally is, they have played from behind the last couple of weeks, and that shows Coach Anderson right there that they do have the confidence. If they are behind, in the second half or late in the fourth quarter, hey, nobody's panicking on that sideline. They're going to come through and come win, and they have some big-time players, and big-time players show up in big-time games.
Yes.
Yeah, they really do. They really do, and Connally has proven that they are as good as the hype said they would be. And so I think Connally is probably the pound for pound. Connally is the best team in our viewing area, but they are followed very, very closely by another one of those undefeated teams that you mentioned, maybe even two, because man, Rogers.
They look good.
They look real good.
They look really good
Charlie
tonight.
Roden, if you are watching this show right now, I'd like to speak directly to you. You guys look like a contender in Region 2. Keep it going, because this is impressive. It's truly impressive.
Hey, words of wisdom from KQ. Well, let's go wrap it up, because I know hey, this guy's got to catch a plane here in a couple hours.
And you got to go
here.
to Astros, so you
we
both
got
a
game
big
2
day
of the Astros tomorrow.
Nick, go back to what you were going to ask me. What did you want to know? You were saying we had a bunch of undefeated teams. You started rattling off undefeated teams.
Just who do you think? Can all of them keep it going here soon, or who's going to be the first one that's going to drop a game?
It's not going to be Holland. The two toughest teams in their district are behind them now with Hearn and Thorndale. With the two toughest teams in their district behind them, in front of the Hornets now is a bye week. Thrall, Marlin, Rosebud Lot, and Milano. Holland's fine.
Win.
Rogers, they go into district play starting next week, which means I think the first team that can challenge them in district play is going to be Clifton week 11. So I think I like Rogers' chances, but I think that Clifton game is still 50-50. I don't put much stock into Clifton's 2 losses, so that's why I think that's still a toss-up right now in week 11, Rogers and Clifton, a game that, Nick, we've had circled since week 1. You stuck around this long, we'll throw some transparency your way. And then I'm trying to think of who are some of the other ones again, because I'm trying to think of one that I
is La Vega still undefeated?
No.
La Vega, no, they lost to Argyle.
They won big tonight.
China Spring has a couple of losses.
Yeah.
China Spring loses by
There's nobody in 6A
game.
is undefeated.
Rockdale?
I believe Rockdale.
I think Rockdale.
I believe they're 7-0. San
Yeah,
Saba.
and next up for Rockdale, I believe, is Troy.
Yeah, that's going to be a good classic.
If there is a team that we can pretty much put right in pen to be undefeated by the end of after week 11, it's San Saba.
Their defense is incredible
in that district. That I think their defense is amazing, and the only team that I feel can challenge San Saba in District 7-2A Division 1 is Crawford. And I don't feel like I'm stepping out of line on this.
No,
one.
that's not. No, you're not. They have an awesome offense, incredible defense.
I think we have some serious teams. I think we've got some seriously good teams in this area this year. We were talking on the phone last night, Nick. It is the deepest this area has been. Look at District 12 6A. You can flip a coin and come up on the wrong side of guessing the playoff field. So who knows what's going to happen? This year is all kind of crazy. I think we know La Vega's probably going to win their district. They're just really, really good, y'all. And they get a bye. Then they open with Stephenville. Like, oof, that is a...
Playing La Vega on rest,
that's a favorable schedule for La Vega.
They do. They do. It's going to be exciting, though. We got about 4 more weeks left of the regular season.
Right, it's crazy. It's flying.
Yeah, it's just going to get more bonkers from here.
Yep.
Bonkers.
But, yeah, as you mentioned, I have a plane to catch.
You got a plane to catch.
You need to cut it short tonight.
Yeah,
only Central Texas TV station headed to Manhattan, Kansas.
I know. He's going to have full coverage of Baylor, Kansas State coming up tomorrow night and on Sunday. So be sure to watch Curtis. Curtis, hey, heck of a job out there. Big win for Temple. Belton will bounce back after this. I mean, it just makes them better, and they'll be contending for the playoffs.
They will. Sam Skidmore and Brian Cope and all those guys, they're too good of coaches to not bounce back. I think that's why nobody that follows high school football is hitting the panic button. They're all just still penciling Belton in for a playoff spot because the kids are there. They have a couple, they're banged up right now. They've got a couple of key guys who are out for injury. They'll come back. This coaching staff's really good. I don't think there's any problems in Belton. And they've got, they've still got games in front of them against Harker Heights, Waco High, teams like that. But after last night, I don't even know that we should be including Harker Heights in that group.
I know, so Harker Heights came up with a big win.
They still got a favorable schedule lined up in front of them. So I don't think if you're a Tiger fan, I understand your frustration. But please, please trust me when I say it is not time to hit the panic button.
No, it's not at all. Not at all. All right, buddy, we'll catch you. We'll see you in Manhattan, Kansas coming up tomorrow. Be careful on the way home. You and Ryan fight.
Sounds good.
All right. That was Curtis Quillen.
Yes.
Mr. Texas football right there.
That is Mr.
Like I said, we got 4 weeks left of the season.
It's
I told
crazy.
you when you moved here,
by.
it's going to fly
by. I know.
by.
I didn't believe it. I said, how's it already week 6? I've already done this 6 times. It's crazy.
The crazy thing is I've been here since November 2012, and every single year I've seen a state champion from our area. So it's crazy. So you're going to see one because we have that good of teams. All right. We're done.
Yes. You guys can go to sleep.
Over.
It's fine.
Everybody go home. We'll see you next Friday night under the lights for week number 7.